What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the GSN Sports Network podcast. I'm your host, as always, John J. II, and today I am joined with Stainer, Brandon Smith. How we doing today, man?
Hey, we're feeling well, feeling good, ready to talk about some sports, baby.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day, beautiful Wednesday out here in Michigan, and it's fall. Football's going on. A lot of things are happening. The sports world is becoming exhilarated with the amount of
hmm
sports that are among us. And there's a lot going on. We'll get into a lot of topics tonight, covering a lot of different areas of the sports world. So we're excited to do that for you guys. The first topic on the docket regards a individual that was a big star, now isn't so much. Now he's looking for new hope, new life. That guy's Odell Beckham Jr. How we feeling about Odell Beckham, OBJ, Smitty? Tell me how we're feeling about him. Has he completely been washed up? Is he done? Does he have new life? Does he still have potential in the NFL? What's going on with OBJ?
You know what? I tell you what, one of my favorite subjects today is to talk about OBJ and what's been going on with him. Quite frankly, OBJ coming back from an ACL injury, he worked out with Saquon Barkley. Again, if you think about these two guys, this year they have not performed the way you thought they would. OBJ. Maybe it's a quarterback, maybe it's him not getting open. I can't see that to be true. You know, OBJ, I don't think he's washed up. I quite frankly, I'm very excited about this news. I think that this topic is very exciting. Just the fact that I didn't expect this to happen. I'm not sure who expected, the Browns. I think everyone thought with the Browns coming in this year with the defense they had, with OBJ, Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, those guys, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, they thought, hey, this Browns team. A lot of people thought this Browns team was going to be a contender this year. And to see what has transpired, I think is very surprising for a lot of people, especially the league, and for OBJ to get to this point where he's no longer a Cleveland Brown, where he went to the waivers and not one of the 10 teams picked him up. I mean, I guess I can understand why they wouldn't do that. But for him to be in this position to go and choose where he wants to be, the sky's the limit for the guy. I mean, he could end up on a team who's going to get a ring. He could be a Super Bowl champion at the end of the year. And and there's some rumors going around. There's some rumors going around about what teams he's looking at. And the top priority teams that he's looking at right now is the Chiefs, the Packers, the Saints, and some people are throwing the Patriots. And for me to hear those teams being thrown out, I can't say I'm surprised about a couple of them, but I am surprised about the Patriots. I know Bill Belichick really wants him, but I just don't see OBJ going from the Browns to the Patriots with Mac Jones. I just don't see OBJ going anywhere but a team that has a chance to win it all. And out of those four, it's either the Packers or it's the Chiefs.
Yeah, I agree. I guess it has to boil down to what team is struggling the most in the wide receiver position. You look at the Chiefs, they're struggling all over the place, can't really figure it out on offense. Patty Mahomes is getting a crazy amount of pressure on him in the pocket.
Yep.
And they don't really have, there's not a lot of options. You got Tyreek Hill. I mean, who else do you got? You got,
Yeah.
Travis Kelce's an option too. I'm not saying
Yep.
Travis Kelce's
Yep.
not,
Yep.
but
Travis Kelsey. You got
it's like you
Nicole
got to move
Hardman.
people around.
You got Robinson
You
there.
have tools, you have weapons. I'm not saying you don't have weapons, but figuring out the team chemistry on offense, that was something the Chiefs were known for, and they really haven't lost a whole lot of guys since last year when they were Super Bowl contenders.
hmm
So they got to figure it out chemistry wise, I think, on offense, and OBJ might be that perfect fit
Well,
just to kind of get the gears moving again.
you use the word chemistry, and I like that word a lot because no matter where OBJ goes, there's going to be an adjustment in chemistry there. He's going to have to adjust. He's going to have to figure out what it's like to be, what is in the NFL when it comes to the quarterback and the wide receivers. There is a feel between how the routes are ran and what does the quarterback expect out of his wide receivers. The one thing Tom Brady is very good at is he understands how his wide receivers works. Right, you see a lot of videos about Tom Brady. He's looking off the safeties. He's moving their eyes. He's moving his eyes left, and then he's just setting the safety up because he knows that Chris Godwin, he knows Mike Evans, or he knows Randy Moss back in the day was going to be there, or Julian Edelman. He knew his wide receivers. That's why he's a GOAT. And Patrick Mahomes is going to be a GOAT. When it's all said and done, Patrick Mahomes is going to be at the top of the list. What I think's been going on with the Chiefs is that there's just been a lot of unforced errors. Patrick Mahomes hasn't played well, but the Chiefs are still, regardless of the record, are a Super Bowl contender. I would be surprised. I think I think it's going to come down to either the Packers or the Chiefs. And if I was to say which defense was better, it would be the Packers. But I just think that OBJ, I just don't see him going to the Saints. I don't see him, with Jameis Winston going down with ACL, MCL injury there and not coming back for a whole year. I don't know why OBJ would go there. And then with the Patriots, I mean, I just don't see why he would go there. Why he would leave the Browns. I can see why he left the Browns. Baker Mayfield has lacked. He has lacked this year. I don't think Baker Mayfield is a great quarterback. If you would compare him to, um, Mahomes or of course Aaron Rodgers, there's no comparison there. It's not even close. So I'm excited about this. I'm very, very excited to see where he goes. I hope he goes somewhere where he has an opportunity to win a Super Bowl. I think OBJ, I don't believe he's washed up. I believe that the guy has a lot of skill still. And I love, God damn it, I love that his dad posted a video on YouTube of all the plays he was open on, and then he just wasn't getting the ball thrown to him. So that stuff, that just proves it. I don't know if anyone's seen that and if anyone's watched it. The guy's open. OBJ is still great. Okay, and Saquon Barkley will still be great. Okay, Barkley. I'm referencing Barkley only for this reason because these guys worked out. They rehabbed together, and both these guys are stars. They were stars before they got hurt, and they're still stars now, and they're going to come back stronger than ever. I'm very excited about this topic. I can't wait, and it might be because I have OBJ on my fantasy teams, and regardless, even with him on my fantasy teams, he might not pop off right away. But I know wherever OBJ goes, if it's a contender, he's going to help that team out immensely.
Yeah, I think you bring up some good points. I think OBJ still has some fuel left in the tank
So much fuel.
to give up, to use in a different team, different franchise. I think that, it depends, it's like a puzzle piece thing. You've seen a lot of success. A perfect example is Matthew Stafford with the Rams. Obviously not a good week last week, but you got to focus on those puzzle pieces. I've seen him find a lot more success in 1 year or half of a year in Los Angeles than however many years he was in Detroit. There was
12 years,
glimmers.
I believe.
12 years. So there's glimmers of success in there in Detroit, but making that move and finding his spot, finding his niche in Los Angeles at the quarterback position, which is what he does best. Obviously, you have to give him credit, have to give him props to making that move and excelling because of that move. So I think that could be just the thing that the doctor ordered. Could be
I
exactly
think
what the doctor ordered for OBJ.
the difference there, though, I believe that the quarterback position is like almost you almost cannot you know you almost cannot even like compare that to other. You really can't compare that to any other position, and of course Matthew Stafford isn't coming off an injury, so there's still this question. There's still this question: is OBJ, is he washed up? That's still a question. Is he washed up? Of course, we don't think he's washed up. But I mean, is he still the OBJ that everyone came to love? Is he still the OBJ that dominated in New York with Eli Manning at the helm there? So I think that with OBJ, you get him on a team there with other playmakers, get him on a team with a quarterback that is just better. Just quite frankly better. I think we're going to see the OBJ that we love to see. He might not be wide receiver number one, but he will be wide receiver number two, and he will be a predominant wide receiver number two. I can't wait. I can't wait. I just don't see him going anywhere but a team that's going to be a contender. And quite frankly, the Packers are a contender. I think what we're going to see this year is we're going to see the Super Bowl winner being a team who is offensively profound. They just have it. They have a quarterback that gets it done. All right, think about those teams. They have wide receivers that get it done. They have a tight end. They have an offensive line. They have running backs that get it done. They also, though, have a defense that can handle their own. In the Chiefs, they lack. The Chiefs are lacking a little bit in the defense. They just struggle. But the Packers, man, Aaron Rodgers. We'll see what happens with his COVID and all that's going on right there. That's another story there. But it's a very interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I'm very excited because I know OBJ is still a very, very talented wide receiver, and he's going to help out whatever team he goes to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be important to see where he goes and to focus on that story, follow it. And you said the Packers, you mentioned the Packers. I think the Packers would be a perfect landing spot for OBJ.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't seen a lot of catches, not a lot of touches in Cleveland, is looking for a strong pass game, pass offense type of dynamic, which you definitely find in Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers coming off of the COVID, suspension or whatever you want to call it. You got to look at the targets that he has. Who's he got? Randall Cobb, the veteran. He's got Devontae Adams, which he predominantly focuses on game after game, multiple
And
touches,
Lazard
hundreds of yards. Yeah, Adam
just
Lazard, but you
lost
have
Robert
room.
Tonyan.
I think you have room there in the wide receiver spot to give Devontae Adams some relief, to take some
Oh,
of the weight off his
absolutely.
shoulders, and to run
Absolutely.
those deep routes. The posts, the wheels,
Oh my
those
God.
routes. You got to be big, you got to be strong, you got to be fast, and you got to be better than your opponent. And I think OBJ could find his spot real easy in Green Bay,
If
especially
Odell
with
Beckham Jr.
Green Bay being
to the
a contender.
Packers, if he goes to the Packers, I tell you, you watch out, man. You better be placing your bets right now. If he goes to the Packers, Aaron Rodgers is just, again, this does rely on what the NFL decides to do with Aaron Rodgers. I think they might suspend him for a couple games. Who knows what's gonna happen? But Rodgers, the Packers are nothing without Rodgers, of course. So it's gonna be interesting. I mean, if OBJ goes to the Packers, it's wow. I mean, we're like holy we're like wow. If he goes to the Chiefs again, we're just like, oh my God. Um,
But see, you
it
know what it's going to take for him to land in a franchise in any city like Kansas City, like Green Bay, even, the Saints, I think, is the most OBJ tiered team as up to this point from what we've seen from OBJ. Maybe the New York OBJ, seeing him go to a Kansas City or seeing him go to a Green Bay. Back then, it wouldn't have been as surprising. You wouldn't be like, wow, that's crazy. But now, if he does go to one of those Super Bowl contending teams, not even saying Kansas City is, they're probably not even in the race, which would make Kansas City an even better spot for him to land
not in the race.
based on his thing.
Oh my gosh, you could place a bet on the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, John,
You
the
could
Chiefs,
place a bet on
Chiefs
anything.
could turn it around. I mean, you still got Patrick Mahomes at the helm. You still have Travis. I mean,
I
Travis
haven't seen shit
Kelce
from Patrick Mahomes, and I got him on my fantasy
again.
team.
The thing that has
Sickening.
happened to Mahomes this year is these interceptions that he's thrown have been, they haven't been terrible throws. They've been unfortunate passes, really, like off the receiver's hands or off someone's helmet or something, just something stupid. I'm telling you right now, do not leave the Chiefs out. They are still contenders. They are still the Chiefs as they were. And Clyde Hilaire is coming back from a knee injury. He's I think returned to practice this week. That Chiefs team, you get a good value on right now. You could get a good value on that team to win it all. I really think that the winner of this year's Super Bowl is going to be a top tier offense.
I'm closing my book on the Chiefs. All right, let's move on to some other games though. Let's talk about some other NFL games. And I had to squeeze that last word in just to end that conversation, just because we could talk
That's
about the Chiefs, we can talk about Patty Mahomes, we can talk about them all night. So
well,
let's
I
move
don't know
on for
about
the sake
that.
of the viewers. Talk about the Cowboys, talk about the Bills, a couple tough losses, some losses we didn't expect to see. Obviously, the Bills losing to Jacksonville and the Cowboys losing to Denver. What did we see? Let's start with the Cowboys. What lacked in that game? Was it offensively? Dak Prescott really wasn't figuring it out on offense. His wide receivers weren't catching his passes. He wasn't getting the ball to him. What happened with the Cowboys on Sunday?
Well, number one, what I'm going to point out here is that there was two turnovers for both of these teams that lost these games, and no one thought they were going to lose these games. Um, Other than that, I can't really tell you what the hell transpired there. I can't believe. I mean, I'm more surprised about the Jacksonville Jaguars beating the Bills than I am about the Broncos, although both games are very surprising. I mean, the Broncos just win there, and they just kind of put it to them. They just dominated them on the time of possession. If you look at it here, it's 41-18, 41 minutes. The Denver Broncos had the ball compared to the Dallas Cowboys with 18 minutes. And gosh, that stat just blows my mind. I don't even know what to say about these two games, man. I can't believe the outcome. I'm just so baffled that the Cowboys at home. I can't believe it. I mean, I'm a little less surprised about this specific game than I am about the Bills losing to Jacksonville, but both these games are just baffling to me. I don't know what to say.
There's really not much you can say. Josh Allen couldn't figure it out on offense for the Buffalo Bills. getting shut down by the Jacksonville Jaguars, something we haven't seen yet this year. And we've seen Josh Allen be very versatile in multiple games. And, seeing this was very unprecedented, at least in my eyes, being a big time Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills fan. Bills Mafia till I die. Got to say that every time we're talking about the Bills. But this was a heartbreaking loss for the Bills in Jacksonville. Couldn't have been bigger for Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence to win that game. And Trevor Lawrence really didn't do shit. He just put the ball in position to get field goals. That game, I think it only had field goals. There was no touchdown scored in that game.
All field goals.
So that's just sickening in and of itself.
If I was going to say something about each game, if we're going to look at the stats here, let's look at the Broncos versus Cowboys real quick. I mean, the Broncos ran for 190 yards compared to the Cowboys of only 78. At the same time, the passing was a little bit more even there at 217 to 212. We're talking about the Broncos at 217 and the Cowboys at 212. I think what happened was that the Broncos, they just made plays. I think in this game here specifically, these guys, they just made plays. Teddy Bridgewater showed up, Javonte Williams showed up. I think they just made plays. And on the other side of the ball, the Cowboys, they didn't make plays. And with how everyone talks about the Cowboys and their offensive line and Ezekiel Elliott, to only have 78 rushing yards, it's just disgraceful. And at the same time, you can't be turning the ball over in the National Football League. You got a fumble lost and an interception thrown. Now we move over to the Bills with Jacksonville. The Bills had 3 turnovers. Again, you cannot turn the ball over. I mean, you cannot give the ball to another team, especially a team full of professionals. Two interceptions thrown there by Josh Allen and a fumble lost. Again, we're speaking here in terms of the Bills and Jaguars. Passing yards, 229 to 139. So the Bills won that margin. Rushing yards, 72 to 79. Okay, I want to repeat that. 229 to 139, the passing yard margin there. Bills again, 229. Jaguars, 139. Rushing yards, 72 to 79. Bills 72, Jaguars 79. That's just pathetic. It is absolutely pathetic. And I thought this since last year with these Bills. They're gonna have to draft a running back. They're gonna have to find a way to draft a running back because Zach Moss. I mean, he's a decent running back. I guess he's dealing with some injuries this year. But get rid of Devin Singletary. He just does nothing for that team. He's just not it. But this game,
That's really all you can say. You can just say,
I mean,
just be dumbfounded by looking at the statistics, looking at the box score, looking at the yardage from both teams. It's just it's unprecedented. It's like it was a scrimmage.
The time of possession was about even. It was 30 minutes and 38 seconds to 29 minutes and 22 seconds. So the time of possession was good there. Looks like the Jaguars won the penalty battle there, which shouldn't be a battle. Again, professionals should know what to do. The Bills had 12 penalties for 118 yards. That's a lot of yards there. I think they just kicked themselves in the butt. At the end of the day, of course, 2 interceptions and a fumble does not help. And look, it was a 6-9 game score. At the end of the day, the Bills are saying, "Wow, what they did, what they talked about. They probably talked about the turnovers first, and then secondly, they probably talked about the penalties. You can't be having 118 yards of penalties and expect to win against a good team, let alone a bad team. As you can see, they lost to the Jaguars. So." It's one of those weeks. It's one of those weeks where and there's something I'm not sure that our viewers know about this, but over in Las Vegas, where sports betting is, the blood of Christ, there are such things called survivor pools, and what they do is they'll buy in for $1,000, and every week I think they actually pre-select every week. They'll pre-select from week 1 to week 18, and what they do is they'll select who they think is going to win. And you can only use a team once. You can only select a team one time through the year. So a lot of people looking at the schedule and they're thinking, okay, Urban Meyer and the Jacksonville Jaguars with Trevor Lawrence at the helm. They're saying, oh God, this is a no-brainer. Let me use the Buffalo Bills for this week. Well, guess what? They just lost $1,000. They just lost $1,000. A lot of people have the Jaguars win this week. So when it comes to implications of over there in Las Vegas and those guys who are throwing out a bill for the survivor pools, well, they're showing up at the doorstep of Josh Allen and asking, hey, why are you throwing 2 interceptions?
Wait, so you said a lot of people had the Jaguars this week. I think you meant a lot of people had the
Sorry,
Bills,
a lot
right?
of people at the Bills. Yeah, absolutely, a lot of
Okay,
people at the
see that
Bills,
makes
of
sense. I
course.
mean, it looks like a no-brainer. You're looking at Josh Allen, which they based on how they've been playing this year, they look like a serious team. They look like a serious team that's willing to win a lot of games. Obviously, winning against the Chiefs, and they don't have really too many good accolades on there. You got Washington, you got Miami Dolphins on there, and it's just like
Who we
there's
talking
not
about?
a really ton of wins on there. Buffalo Bills wins this year.
Okay.
One against Washington, one against the Texans, Deshaun Watson. It's that team and that entire franchise
Yeah,
in
true,
shambles.
true. They beat the
Um,
Chiefs though, 30
they beat the
20.
Chiefs and they lost the Titans. They beat the Dolphins actually twice. They lost to the Steelers as well. So, the loss against the
Good
Jaguars was
point.
the icing on the cake. So is this team a good team? Do they have what it takes to win in tough games? I don't know. I mean, when they're losing to terrible teams, I don't know if that's a correct answer,
Well, I
Sam. They
can't say
can
they're
handle them.
losing to terrible teams. I'd say they lost to a terrible team. I mean, they lost to the Titans, who, with Derrick Henry, was 34-31 there at the Titans. That was a hell of a game. And they lost to the Steelers week one when everyone's healthy and prepped to go. What I think that the Bills lacking is a running back. I think the NFL, when it comes to, you know, profound teams, you have to have a run game. You have to have a run game because it opens up your pass game. It opens up play action, opens up the whole playbook. And I just don't think that anyone is baffled by what's in the backfield other than Josh Allen. I mean, of course, he's a versatile quarterback. He can run the ball, but I, I wish the Bills had a better running back. I really do because I like Josh Allen a lot. He's an elite quarterback. He's going to be an elite quarterback. Having Stephon Diggs out there, Dawson Knox obviously got hurt. He's coming back. He broke his hand. They have a defense that can stand for their own. But yeah, there's a lot of question marks. So this Bills team, there's a lot of people that thought this Bills team was a contender, and you know, we're all looking around.
We're all looking around with a lot of questions, and hopefully they bear some answers here very soon. Let's move on a little bit, though. Let's talk about the NBA and Steph Curry obviously dropping a good amount of points. How many points did he drop the other day?
I mean, my boy Steph Curry dropped 50 points. 50 points. In 35 minutes of gameplay, he dropped 50 points. He had 10 assists. From another source of mine, they were telling me he is the oldest player to drop. Don't quote me on this, but to go 50 and 10 in a game like that. So Steph is putting the Golden State Warriors on his back. He's saying, "Guess what, guys? Jump in my backpack. Let's go for a ride."
And I see, and I've talked about the Golden State Warriors already this year, talked about their promise, talked about their potential, and they're looking like a team that's really playing with a Mamba mentality, which is hard to find in the National Basketball Association nowadays. We're impressed to see it out of the Warriors. They could be coming back, especially the entire script gets flipped in a good way once Clay comes back. How will Clay Thompson change the dynamic, the current dynamic, which is working in Golden State? How will he add to that dynamic going forward once he comes back?
You know, it's hard to say. Uh, we hope that the medical professionals over there with the Warriors have prepped, Klay Thompson to have rehabbed to the most positive proficiency that he could possibly come back as. I'm so excited for it. Obviously the Splash Brothers will reunite. And looking at the box score here, Jordan Poole, Michigan alum, there he dropped 16, and another player. I mean, I'm very excited for it. I can't wait. Me as an NBA fan, I think anyone who's an NBA fan has to recognize that Klay Thompson is just better for the game. He's just an elite shooter. He's one of the best shooters that's ever come step on the floor to ever be televised to represent the National Basketball Association there. So I'm very excited for it. I think what he does for the team, he brings more leadership, more than what he does already on the bench. Um, I'm excited. I'm just excited to see him out there, man. He loves the game. If you follow him on Twitter, if you follow him on Instagram, you can just tell he loves the game and he's itching to get back. He cannot wait. They left him out of the top 75 NBA list, man, and that guy's gonna come back with a vengeance. So I'm really excited. The three ball in the NBA is just so great. It just does a lot for you, man, and I'm excited. I am very excited. I just kind of wish that I mean, they got good players on the team. I just wish they had a little. I wish they had a better center. I wish they. I mean, Kevin Looney, um, Let me make sure I'm saying his name correctly. Yeah, Kevon Looney. He's a tough son of a gun, but he's just not as skilled as you would hope he would be. So if there's one thing that I think that the Golden State Warriors are lacking, it's the PF power forward position or the center position. But you know, regardless, there's a lot of good teams in the NBA, of course. But I'm very excited to see Clay come back, and I hope he comes back healthy. Hope he comes back 100%, and I'm just excited to see him go out there and start cashing out some threes again.
Yeah, me too. And to reunite the Splash Brothers is going to be something that's impressive to see, whether he comes back and shines or not. So we'll be
Oh,
looking
he's
for
gonna be
that.
shining. He's gonna
I
be
mean, he
shining.
hasn't played in a long time though, so how can you say that with a definitive mindset? He hasn't played in a long time. He hasn't touched a hardwood in a long time.
Because
Maybe he's been
because the
shooting free
basketball
baskets more.
guys are gonna allow it. That's why.
Okay, all right.
We'll use that.
All right, we'll use that, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully, he does come back
Hopefully.
with a vengeance and comes back with a mindset that is killing, and that is ruthless, and
He will.
that is championship like.
He's gonna
So,
come back with a point to prove, as if he needs anything to prove.
well, I mean, he's coming back. He's got to have something to prove. He's got to have something to prove.
Well, of course he's coming back, but it doesn't mean that's some. I mean, Jesus Christ, when you leave him on the top 75, that just gives. I mean, put fuel on the fire. Can't wait.
Put fuel on the fire. You got to. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the UFC 268. Obviously, the Nigerian Nightmare fighting Colby Covington. This is the second bout that they had, and this happened this past Saturday. Obviously, very exciting fight, very exhilarating. Had the pleasure of watching a lot of the fights on the main card, and had a good time doing it. Had a lot of entertaining fights in there. You got the Rose Namajunas, Weili Zhang fight. That was another revenge fight for Weili Zhang after getting knocked out with a head kick, brutal head kick from Rose Namajunas.
So that
And
was a rematch.
that was a rematch. So she was
Oh,
fighting
wow.
with something to prove. That was a title fight, and that was a very important fight for both of these women, for Rose Namajunas, because she claimed the title from Weili Zhang with the head knockout, and this was the chance for Weili Zhang to reclaim that belt.
Okay.
And she had the opportunity to do that. She gave a hell of a fight. She's a very tough woman, very jacked, and very disciplined in her sport. So both these women, you almost can't find a better matchup in women's UFC than this fight. So I was impressed with this one. Obviously, a split decision allowed Rose Namajunas to win that fight, and it was very close. I expected to see a knockout. I expected to see some hard hits. There were some hard hits, but like I said, these women are grounded. They know where these punches are going. They studied the opponent very well, and they do a good job at reading their opponent and knowing how to fight them and attack them. And they read each other very well. Obviously, both of them found vulnerabilities in the opponent from time to time, but obviously no knockout, so no true critical mistakes from either one. And
Just
yeah, it
a
was a
just
really
a
good
tough
fight.
fight. Just a tough fight they had
Just a
there.
tough fight,
That's what it
exactly.
sounds like.
Yeah, then you got some others, Shane Burgos against Billy Quarantillo, and that was a good fight too. That kind of that was a unanimous decision. That was pretty easy to find as far as Shane Burgos winning that one. Very dominant, effective performance from Shane, and also Justin Gaeth against Michael Chandler, and that was a very definitive one too. You could see the change, you could see the opponent, you could see everything that was going on. You could see the individual who was fighting the best and who was performing the best. It was very obvious. Whereas, some of these other fights, it wasn't so easy. Let's talk about the main card, the main event. Kamaru Usman against Colby Covington, welterweight title bout. And it's the rematch. So it's obviously number 2. So people are expecting a lot to happen. Bad blood between both these
You know,
individuals. Tell me
right,
about
right,
Kamaru Usman a little bit. Tell me how you
let
feel
me
about him.
just say this is all I'm gonna say about the UFC. Rose is one tough son of a bitch. I mean, she is just, gosh, she's so physical. Those girls and those men that fight, those women and men that fight in the UFC, I mean, you gotta take your hats off to them 24/7. I mean, those guys are so dang tough, and they go in there and they damn near might die in the ring. That's how much it means to them. So it's a good win by her. I love to see that. She's battled and battled and battled. She's had her losses, and that's one thing I love to see there is someone that who has lost those tough fights, but has returned to the ring and has won and overcome adversity. I love that. And with the Nigerian Nightmare, I just think that anyone and everyone that thought Colby Covington was going to win this fight is an absolute imbecile. I mean, I swear to God, I you know I don't know what more Kamaru Usman needs to prove to anybody out there that you just don't mess with this guy. He's a great UFC fighter. These guys fought before already in 2019. Hoorah! He won. Hoorah! Everyone wants to blame the refs. Guess what? It wasn't the ref. It was Kamaru Usman being better. That's it. Kamaru Usman is better. He's a Nigerian nightmare for a reason. That's all I'm gonna say.
I don't know. I mean, you
I
clearly
can't
didn't see this fight because
look.
this fight
I
was a
didn't.
lot closer than you'd think. And I thought that same thing going into it. Kamaru Usman coming in very strong favorite, mind you, and to see him not produce a knockout to Covington
Kamaru
as
Usman doesn't
close as
need to
that could
produce
have happened.
knockouts. He is just
He
a
isn't a
very
knockout.
intelligent, smart. He's just very intelligent in the ring. The guy does what it takes to win. That's it. He does what it takes to win. He preserves himself and he takes what he needs to do. That guy is. I mean, he's going to go down. Mark my words. He's going to go down as one of the best UFC fighters that we have watched. I promise you. The
I'm
guy
not
is
saying he
he's
won't.
amazing. He's better than Conor McGregor. He's better. I mean, he is up top. You ask me who I think number one, I'm gonna tell you Kamaru Usman. I'm gonna let you know Nigerian Nightmare, baby.
Got to give a lot of props to Colby Covington though in this fight, and
Good
and he
fighter.
he
Good
did a hell of
fighter.
a job. Did a hell of a job. He almost
Good
got
fighter.
knocked out in round 3, and he recovered, made it out of the round, and really put some stunning hits on Kamaru Usman that I haven't seen. I didn't see it against, previous fighters. I didn't see it against Masvidal, Gamebred. Didn't see it then. I didn't see him get knocked off his rocker like he did, and he really put himself in a vulnerable state in certain points in this fight. And it was a very well-rounded fight, very clean. And there's obviously bad blood. There's gonna be shit talking. That's the automatic. That's the automatic
Two
way.
very good fighters. I mean, don't get me wrong. Colby Covington is still a very good fighter, but it's like you're almost like asking who's gonna win in a one-on-one match between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. You know. Um,
I wouldn't compare that to this fight.
I mean, close comparison. But I mean, obviously, two bipolar differences there. I just think, I honestly, I'm a big fan of Kamaru Usman, and simple as that. I just think he's a great. I mean, I think
I
Kamaru
think the
Usman is
question gets begged: who can beat Kamaru Usman, if anybody, in the welterweight weight division? Can anybody?
not anyone that is there right now. That anyone that has a name. I don't think that anyone that has a name right now could do it.
It's
I mean, I
yet to
think
be
I think if
seen.
anyone was gonna, I think if anyone was going to do it, it was going to be Colby Covington, and he didn't do it, and that's
Yeah,
what a
it
lot
was
of people
close.
thought
It was
with the
close. A lot of people
rematch.
did think, and I think a lot of people were riding the Colby Covington train, and they wanted to see him win. And he was obviously big in America. This fight was in Madison Square Garden, so big American crowd. You still had a lot of love for Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare, too. But obviously Colby
God,
Covington
I
being
love
the
that guy
American.
so goddamn much. I love that motherfucker. God, I'm sorry for swearing on here. I mean,
Take it easy
viewers, I'm
now.
sorry. I know, I'm sorry. I just, man, I just love the Nigerian Nightmare so freaking much, man. He's such a good fighter. He's so strong. He's intelligent. And Kobe Covington, he's got the whole America behind him. I mean, I'm surprised that Donald Trump didn't come walking out with him.
Let's move on before we give too much more love, or Smitty rather gives too much more love to Kamaru Usman,
I'm gonna
the
get a Kamaru
Nigerian Nightmare.
Usman
He
shirt.
deserves every
Make it
bit of it.
myself.
Don't get me wrong, he deserves
I'll
every
make it
bit.
myself.
We're taking
If
up
you
a
guys
hard
want to
drive
buy them, let
space.
me know. Kamaru Usman, Nigerian Nightmare. We'll make some shirts for you.
Oh boy. All right. So let's move on to the college basketball scene. Last night was the beginning of the State Farm Champions Classic. State obviously fell to
Exciting.
Kansas and the Jayhawks. Don't have it
More than
figured
just
out.
that game.
They don't have
Hmm.
it figured out. Izzo doesn't have it figured out with his new recruits, Max Christie, others that are in there, obviously meshing with, the Julian Marbles, the AJ Hogards, the Joey Hausers, those types of guys he has to mesh with. They have to mesh with the new recruits. They made it work last year with Aaron Henry. He has since moved on into the next level. So there's a lot to figure out in Michigan State's corner. I'm not going to get into that too much. I'll talk about that a lot more on Friday with Cody on the college podcast. We got the Gin College podcast. So look forward to that coming this coming Friday. But let's talk about the other game that happened last night, Kentucky and Duke. Duke got the best of them. Coach K's last year, obviously. Smitty, speak to Coach K and his legacy. What has he brought to the NCAA as far as, men's basketball, as far as revolutionizing the game? What has he done for the game of
I
basketball?
mean, Coach K has brought to college basketball not only just professionalism, but just the expectant. He's brought the level where the players that come to Duke, there is an expectancy that you're going to play great. If you don't have it, you're not going to get recruited there. It's honestly, I'm not surprised to see that Duke won this game. I just think that with Coach K's legacy, that this year hopefully is a good one for them. I didn't really get to watch the game. Didn't really watch a lot of basketball yesterday, but with this game, I mean, it was nice to see. It was nice to see that Duke beat Kentucky. These two blue bloods here. Um, and I'm not surprised. Not surprised, honestly. And Coach K, great coach. I hope he has a great season. I mean, he's brought a lot. He's set a precedent in the college world for coaches. I really think that.
Yeah, he has the court already named after him. Still hasn't left. The home court at Duke University is the Coach K's court, and that's something that should be be given some words, given some accolades, some respect as well. I mean, this guy's got a court that he currently plays on, currently coaches at, that is named after him. I mean, is there something to be said about that? If you can tell me this guy hasn't made an impact, you would be lying to my face.
I mean, this guy is
Um,
just so much more than just that. I mean, this guy's. I mean, he's an Olympic coach. I mean, he's everything. Coach K is. He is everything, man. And unfortunately, we don't get to witness the greatness in these coaches as much as the players do, of course. But what a luxury it has been for us to be able to see the teams he's produced and the players he's recruited, and the games that he's won.
yeah, definitely a lot of good things to be said. Moving on to Michigan, they're playing Buffalo tonight. How are we feeling about Michigan and Juwan Howard's Michigan Wolverines? How have they, evolved? How have they become better under Juwan Howard? And what do they need to do and continue
God,
if they
man,
want
we
to be
don't want to talk
successful?
Michigan Wolverines. I might talk more highly about the Michigan Wolverines than I did about Kamari Usman. You sure you want to hear that? Because I don't know.
Just give me the Reader's Digest version because we're kind
the
of running out
reader
of time
the
here.
reader's guy. I tell you what, man. Jawan Howard changed. I mean, we went from. I mean, just as well as you guys in Michigan State went from D'Antonio to Mel Tucker was just as good as we went from Beeline to Howard. You couldn't ask for a better coaching change there. What he's done is he has continued on in that category of greatness at Michigan and expectancy there. Jawan Howard brings NBA play, skill, professionalism, everything. Juwan Howard has changed the Michigan basketball program to basically help us compete with teams like Kentucky, with Duke, those big schools, man. Getting Hunter Dickinson back. We got Eli Brooks again this year. Brandon Johns, we're expecting to have a bigger role to be played. We got Caleb Houston in there. This kid named Devontae Jones who transferred from where did he play last year? Real quick, let me look. He played at Coastal Carolina University last year. He's a point guard. So we're looking at that guy. Him and Eli Brooks as a 1-2 up there in the backcourt. We got the how do you say his last name, John? Um,
I don't know what you're
Di,
looking at.
Diabate. He's from France. Moasa Dabate, something like that, man.
Hey, they
Either
really like
way,
going. I gotta say this: they love going overseas for their big men, and
yeah.
a lot of players, even skill players, they love going overseas. Why
What
is that?
I'm not sure. I couldn't tell you that. I don't have dinner with Juwan Howard or that organization. But what I will tell you this right now, I expect Michigan Wolverines to be in the March Madness, of course, to at least get to the Sweet 16. I expect them to get further than that, the Elite Eight, the Final Four. God damn it, they're gonna win it all, baby. That's what I think.
Oh boy, we'll see what happens. Hopefully, Juwan Howard and the Michigan Wolverines can figure it out.
Score update: 73-87 Michigan with 53 seconds left to play. The spread was before the game 12.5. So we'll see if Michigan will cover.
We'll see indeed here in a couple minutes. But yeah,
Less
that
than a
brings
minute.
us towards the end of the show now, guys. We kind of went a little long-winded. That's okay. That's
That's
expected.
okay.
That's going to happen. It's going to happen time and time again. We might even hit the hour mark from time to time here on the GSN podcast. Smitty, do you have anything left you want to say to the people before we sign off?
I want to let the viewers know that get used to seeing my face here on GSN Podcast. Get used to seeing me on Thursdays as well. We're going to be starting another NFL podcast while the season is still alive there. I want everyone to know that, bring in your own opinion. Bring in things you want to say about bring in things you want to say about what you saw, what we talked about, and hey, we might touch base on it next week. Bring us something good. Bring us some stuff we can talk about, and we will bring it back up. We want you viewers to interact with us as well. We want to hear from you. Bring in questions. If you talk, John, I'm sure has outlets where you can send in questions. Man, you want to hear about if you want to hear about something you want us to talk about, let us know and we'll talk about it. We're here for you, and every Wednesday we're excited for it. So you'll be seeing a lot more of Stainer, as you can see. The name's Brandon Smith. You can call me Smith. You can call me Stainer. And there also will be another, accolade behind me. It'll be Stainer of the Week. So I'm excited to bring that to you guys. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, indeed. And you'll be seeing a lot more of Smitty coming forward, Stainer, the main stain, in Stain in the Membrane, all of those. You'll see him more on the GSN podcast, which we expect to see. And he's going to be providing a lot of content as far as the Stain of the Week and other things that he's going to be bringing to the table. So we're excited to have Smitty here on the GSN podcast.
What I will do is I will bring you objective and subjective views. You ready
That's what we need. I mean, we need your objective, the facts. We need everything cut and clean for the people to analyze first, but then give your 2 cents, because your 2 cents are very valuable here on the GSN pod, and you have to give those to you. And to me, you got to give them to both of us. And that goes for the viewers too, kind of hinting on what Smitty already said. So send us your suggestions, send us your questions. We'll host you guys via the comments, and feel free to chime in at all times. And yeah, we're gonna be going live going forward here on Wednesdays. We've already been doing it for a long time. So same time, same
I'm here to help
place.
John. Here our boy, help our boy Jane Kamish, John Mikowski III, help him out as much as I can. And man, we're excited for it. We just love to talk about sports. We love to bring the stuff to you. So hey, if you want, bring us some stuff too, baby. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll bring you guys the stuff. You guys bring us some stuff, and we'll make a trade. So good stuff, guys. Thank you guys for tuning into the GSN Sports Network podcast. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts. Follow our link tree. I'll put it at the bottom of our screen for your viewing pleasure. Link tr.ee/GymPros. Check it out. Find all the socials down below. You can find every social on there from every one of our analysts, contributors, and executives. So make sure to check that out. And we'll be in touch with you guys very soon. Thank you guys for tuning in again to the GSN Sports Network podcast. I'm your host, as always, John Shea II, with Brandon Smith. Have a great night.